This video is kind of on a different tangent. I get questions from a lot of students since I speak at a lot of art colleges. Jon Phenom is actually the name of my company. The process for me is tested over time just because I've done so many different transactions, freelancing or contracted, the same thing. But everything from logo or rebranding a logo, like doing a remix on a logo. Just did 4 t-shirts for a client over the last 2 weeks. I'll do category design. I did hoodies for Maddox one season, like their entire hoodies fleece collection. I've definitely got contracted for companies to develop an entire grouping or an entire season of apparel. So those are a lot of variables. So when I began freelancing and not, aside from my salary job, that's really easy because I come into work, I clock in, I clock out, they pay me X amount, and all day or all week for 8 hours, all I do is develop clothing, anything from design to answer production questions to changing colorways and making presentations for buyers or our internal people, stuff like that. But when you're dealing with it on a client basis, it's a completely different thing. Basically, over time I've created a full menu and I'll email that to a client first, and so that they know the idea of the rates for things that I've done before. You can pay for just one season of clothing, or you could pay for me to design one jean, or it could be one logo, one t-shirt design, 4 t-shirt designs. So I have an hourly rate on there to come in if I and it's hefty. So if you physically need me in a seat, and if I'm going to another city, then that company or client pays for, obviously pays for travel and accommodations and stuff like that. So there's rates for everything, running through production, just consulting. Over time I've had to come up with a list of how to charge for them, and so just so no one's wig is blown back when we first speak or after, or if we speak a second time or whatever, I'll email them that so that they understand where my prices are. They'll present the project to me or whatever it is they want, and then get into creative direction, or like what they want to see, or any kind of reference images they have, or how they want it to feel and look and feel, and that sort of all the visual aesthetic stuff. And I'll furnish an estimate of the work scope. So I'll try to, pretty much nail it out. So if it's 4 shirts, that's easy. I'll go my per shirt charge, then the estimate of what I think it's going to cost, and then my terms at the bottom will basically say that the final balance might be different than the estimate because there might be added work. But basically the client signs that and gives me a deposit for half of the estimate. As the project continues, if it needs to be done in stages, then I just update them with invoices and formal emails that kind of document everything. So working for yourself is really tough. It's not glamorous. There's a lot of time involved rather than just doing your work. That's why companies pay so much money to have employees. It's like a machine. But for you just come in and check in and check out. When you're dealing on a client basis, you got to be super organized. You got to have a lot of documentation. The reason you have to be so organized is there's so many flare-ups. I've been burnt a million times. Any person that freelances know they've been burnt a million times. So it's important to have a paper trail and documentation, and communication needs to be crystal clear, because clients will get upset for all kinds of reason. Most of the obvious ones will be time delays, but if it's something that is out of your hand, you need to be able to prove it or tell them you are waiting for them for something. So anyways, a lot of documentation. So I have kind of my price sheet or my menu of what things cost, email that to them, figure out what they want, give them an estimate. They pay half up front. I close out the project in however many rounds of design, and then they pay the balance at the end. But that's just how I do it. It works for me. I'm continually, trying to make the system better. But it's worked really solid for me in the last couple of years, and I've been doing this for a long time. And so yeah, so anybody that's freelancing, all the students that I ever talk to, I hope that helps. If you have more specific questions or anything to add to this, and you freelance as well, and you have stuff to add to it, then please drop them. And for anyone else that watches this and for the better good, hope that helps.